welcome to another edition of Almost Martha. And today we're going to be making a big batch of cookies. I have to take these cookies somewhere, I have to share them with people, and I had to make a lot of them. So I have one of my all-time favorite recipes. It's a great oatmeal cookie recipe. And normally I would put nuts in it, but because I'm going to be taking it and sharing it with a lot of people, there's a lot of people with nut allergies, I'm going to put some butterscotch morsels in there. So it's an oatmeal butterscotch cookie. It's delicious. It really does make a lot. So you'll see how many cookies. I usually, if I'm just making it for us here at home, I usually just cut it in half. But today, I'm making the full thing. So let's get started. First step is to take 1 cup of butter. It's right here, and we're gonna put it into our mixer because we wanna cream the butter and the sugar, and I just would rather let it do the work for me instead of creaming it by hand. So that's 1 cup of butter. To that, we're gonna add 1/2 cup of white sugar. Make sure, yep, that's right. 1/2 cup of white sugar and 1 cup of firmly packed, that means you pack it down in here, 1 cup of firmly packed light brown sugar. Just gonna dump that in the bowl. Mix that up in there a little bit. Turn my mixer on, and I'm gonna cream my butter and sugar together. Okay, so this is gonna cream until it's nice and fluffy. In the meantime, I'm gonna crack an egg. You know, I never like to crack an egg directly into my mixture just in case something happens. So while this is creaming, I've done that. You're also gonna need 3 cups of oatmeal. You're gonna need 1 cup and a quarter of flour. And we can go ahead and prepare our flour while this is getting creamed over here. Okay. So 2-hour flour. It's creaming, but it's not fluffy yet, so we'll just let it go on. So to our flour mixture, we're gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. We're gonna add 1 teaspoon of salt. I'm just gonna take it here. So I did use unsalted butter, so we can be good with our salt. 1 teaspoon of salt right in there. I'm gonna mix this up a little bit. We're also gonna add some cinnamon. So I think it's 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Right in there, drag it. Just put that right in your flour. Mix that all up. Okay. And that's going to be all ready for us. We get to the next step. I'm going to just take my little spatula. We're going to make sure, going to get all the butter off the side. Let it keep working here for just a minute. It does say to beat it until it's nice and fluffy, so we have a little ways to go. Looks like it's gotten more in there, so that means it's kind of fluffed up, right? That's how you can tell. It looks like your volume has increased. You know it's reached that fluffy stage. So now we're going to add our eggs one at a time. So that's egg number 1. Let that fold in. I'm going to go ahead and crack the second one. just to get ready. I'm going to add that second egg, get that all in there. I'm going to wipe it down again, make sure everything's getting incorporated properly. Okay. And now we're going to add some vanilla. I'm just going to add regular vanilla extract. We're going to add, I think, 2 teaspoons. 1, 2, just a little more for good luck because I really like my vanilla. Okay, that all looks good. Now on a lower speed, just let it go a little lower. We'll start adding in the flour. You don't want it to be on high and have it kick back up in our face. A little bit at a time. Okay. I'm going to wipe down the sides again. And I am preheating my oven to 325 degrees. I'm not quite 350. Okay. Now I have to tell you, if you're doing this by hand, it's going to get a little more difficult as we start adding in the oatmeal. So I kind of like to let the mixer do the work for me. So this is my 3 cups of oatmeal. I don't think it really matters if it's instant. I usually have instant on hand, so that's usually what I'm making this with. Okay. Yep. It's a lot of batter. 3 cups of oats really adds to the volume. Okay. Now I'm going to pull it out of the mixer. And we're going to do the rest by hand. So I'm going to take that down. Pull this off. I'm going to clean my beater because now we're going to fold in those butterscotch chips just by hand. Very nice, very nice. Boy, a good mixer can make all the difference. It's all about good tools, right? Good tools in the kitchen can make your life much, much easier. Okay, so we have a pretty stiff dough, so it's gonna take a little doing to get these chips folded in. Now at this point, if you don't have butterscotch chips, of course you could use nuts. You could add a half a cup of walnuts. Walnuts I think are great with this. But if you have pecans, pecans work too. Pecans are always a good cookie addition. Mark, my husband, he'll always pick pecans over walnuts. And I will generally pick walnuts over pecans. Guess who wins? No, that's not true. I always make sure he gets what he likes. Okay. Ooh, very stiff. Very stiff. But with just a few turns, we have now incorporated all of the butterscotch chips. And we are ready to start putting them in a pan. We have a lot of cookie dough. That's a lot of cookie dough. So now we're gonna line baking sheets with parchment paper. We're just gonna put some mounds of cookie dough using clean hands right on here. I see videos sometimes of people, doing all of this with plastic gloves on. Yeah, I don't know. I get my hands nice and clean, and I think it's just as good. I've tried using scoop. A lot of times you also see that beautiful scoop where they dip it in and they scoop it and it's beautiful. It never works for me. All of my cookie dough just sort of ends up sticking to the inside of the scoop. So it's kind of a wasted time saver in that respect. So just a little teaspoon and some clean fingers. Put these in the oven. I do like them mounded, not mashed down into a disc. So it will keep them kind of soft in the center. Okay. I think I can squeeze one more on here. Have enough room for that. So that's pan number 1 and pan number 2. So I'm probably going to get 5 or 6 pans. That's a lot of cookies. But that's okay. That's okay. It's going to go help a lot of people. So everybody deserves a little treat. Everybody deserves a little treat. Something sweet. So there you go. Speaking of something sweet, you know what I had for lunch today? For lunch today, I had a piece of coconut cake. Oh, it was so good. It was at a local bakery, and I have to tell you, it was absolutely delicious. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to try to find my grandmother's recipe for coconut cake, because every Christmas we would have coconut cake and ambrosia. Oh my goodness. It was just the best. It was just the best. So Cindy, anybody out there that has Grandmother Leopard's recipe for coconut cake, please send it. Because that coconut cake today, boy, that really took me back. That was so good. And that's what food does for us, right? It reminds us of places, of people, of times that we had while we ate it. Food, like music, is kind of magic that way. So you smell something in the oven, it kind of takes you back to your childhood, that kind of thing. Right, Mom? Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. Okay. So now I have 2 pans. We'll start with those, and we'll just keep it going. Oh, yeah. Yep. So I baked at 325 for about 13 minutes. You can see it's a little browning around the edges. They are done, but they don't look overly done, which is great, And I have enough cookie dough to probably do another pan and a half. So as I told you, this recipe makes a lot of cookies, And normally I do make that half recipe. So I'll tell you a little secret about that. I'm not a math whiz. Go imagine that. So I have a little helper. There is an app that I use on my iPad, and it's called Recipe Keeper. And boy, let me tell you, it's a keeper, because you can take recipes, right off the internet and then put them, right in your little recipe keeper. And if you want half a recipe, just click it a couple times. It does all the math for you, cuts it in half. Really, it's such a time saver. So look online for some good, cooking apps, but I know Recipe Keeper really works for me on my iPad perfectly, and it syncs among all of your devices, whether you're on your phone, your iPad. It's all just one big thing. So I did sneak a little while ago, and I tried a cookie And I have to tell you, it's really good. Really, really good. It's crispy without being hard. And those butterscotch morsels, oh, it really just takes this cookie to a whole nother level. So oatmeal butterscotch, you gotta try it. So go to almost-martha.com for the full recipe. It really is so good. Bye, Mom. I'll talk to you soon. But go get the recipe from almost-martha.com. Get the full thing. And I hope you make it because it really is a terrific cookie. It's one of the best oatmeal cookies I've ever had. So this is a really good one. It's a keeper. We'll see you next time on Almost Martha.